So today we're going to look at a notoriously difficult step, and that is the Gargouillades. This is a kind of jump that has some similarities to a pas de chat, but with a Gargouillade we do a single rond de jambe en l'air on each leg during the jump, one after the other in quick succession before we land. We still bring the legs up underneath us, a bit like a pas de chat, but we start off with one rond, followed by a quick second rond, and then typically land in fifth position. One of the reasons why it's difficult is because you need a lot of height in your jump to have enough time to get the legs doing 2 rond de jambes en l'air. There are different versions of this jump, so I'm first of all going to talk about the different versions that you may encounter, and then we're going to look at breaking it down. So starting off with the version that I would typically do, I would usually begin in a tombé coupé. Then my first leg would do a rond de jambe en l'air en dehors. My second leg would also do a rond de jambe en l'air en dehors, and then I close fifth. However, there are versions where you could do rond de jambe en l'air en dehors on the first leg, but a rond de jambe en l'air en dedans with the second leg. There are also versions where you could do en dedans on both legs, but you rarely see this. Personally, I have actually never seen this. I just know that it is a possibility. So the reason why I always teach en dehors on both legs rather than en dehors and then en dedans is because during a Gargouillade, this is typically done en face, facing your audience, and it is usually quite fast, and often so fast that your audience can't really see whether you're doing en dehors or en dedans. They basically just see the legs going in, out, land. If you do en dehors, you're going to really push your heels forwards because we're doing that straight line and then we're pushing the heel forward and the knee back. However, if you do en dedans, I feel you are at a greater risk of turning in the second leg. Maybe not if your technique is really clean and perfect, but I just feel there is a greater risk with some students. So I just teach en dehors on both legs because most of the audience won't be able to see the difference, and at least you know that your students are really pushing their heels forward on both ronds. So then there is another version where you do a double rond de jambe en l'air on each leg, which is just really very difficult. You have to jump so high to have enough time in the air to do not 1 but 2 on the first leg and another 2 on the second leg, keeping in mind that at the end of your double you are extending the leg, so you are going 1, 2, extend, 1, 2, extend, close. So if you're new to Gargouillades, I would definitely recommend breaking them down and starting at the bar. You might want to begin in fifth position and start with your tombé coupé. We're then going to pick up the front leg. We have our first rond de jambe en l'air en dehors. We land, we pick up the second leg, another rond de jambe en l'air en dehors, and close. So practice this a few times until you feel confident with the motion of taking both legs en dehors and then closing. And then you might want to add a little lift as you do this. So not quite a jump, but we're going to lift and lower. Again, repeat, still holding onto your bar until you feel confident, and then we can try the jump. So feel free to really push down on your bar for this to give you that extra support. We are aiming to have a moment in the air where both legs are off the floor. You might notice that the second leg is the hardest to have that time to go in and out before you close. So you might want to watch yourself in a mirror to make sure that you are fully extending both legs as you do this. Don't forget to practice on the other leg too. And as you get more confident with this, you might want to remove one hand. So you're doing this jump with only one hand at the bar, and then you could even reduce it down to just one finger on the bar. Then when you feel ready to come into the center, again, it's great if you can either film yourself or do this in front of a mirror. The arms that I would recommend you try in the beginning would just be in bras bar or first position. So they are clean and out of the way, and you can put your focus on your legs. Then when you're ready to experiment with arms, you might want to take them to third. So we start in third position in the first tombe coupe, we open out to second as we jump, and we land with third on the other side. If you want to take inspiration from the Sugar Plum Fairy, you could try taking your arms out to allongé during the jump, or even a second position. And you may even want to add a soutenu and then another coupe or tombe to repeat into another one. You'll notice in the Sugar Plum Fairy's variation, she does a number of these continuously, which makes it even harder. So that's a quick look at a few different versions of a gargouillade and how to break them down. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.